am here with Joe Nakamura, and he is the owner of Run Republic as well as an avid runner. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So I wanted to talk to Joe a little bit about where his love of running came from.
Well, I grew up not running, and I didn't really like running. Actually, I grew up wrestling and doing judo, and running was always kind of like the punishment in those sports. So it's like if you get in trouble, you got to go run. But as I grew older and I got married, had a family, I needed to stay competitive, and running is so easy and it's convenient. And also through training my clients over the years, I kind of figured that we need something else other than just going to the gym and grinding it out to keep us motivated. And the running community is so welcoming, it's fun, it's easy, you don't need a bunch of gear. So secretly I always had this dream of running a marathon. Secretly, because I didn't like running, I didn't want to tell people about it. I just felt like, you know what, hey, if somebody can run a marathon, I can run a marathon. And anyways, on my 30th birthday, I ran my first marathon, and then I checked it off the list.
And you were done, right? That's
exactly. Actually, I was done. I was totally done after running a marathon. I was super sore. I didn't realize all the technique that goes into it, just like other sports and other things that we do in the fitness world. But I muscled through it just because of my background and my competitive nature and my background with fitness and just being a wrestler.
Exactly. You can't give up.
Couldn't give up. In my first marathon, I ran in 3 hours and 20 minutes. I thought that was good. Checked it off the list, and then I read a book about people who run 100-mile races, and I thought, as I was reading it, it was by Dean Karnazes, Ultra Marathon Man, and somebody gave it to me right before my 30th birthday, which is, I think, around the time that I met you.
Oh.
Yep. And so I was reading the book. Yep. So I was reading the book, and I was like, this can't be real. I thought it was fiction, so I put it down. I Googled it, 100-mile races, and it turns out people run 100-mile races. So
they sure
I thought,
do. Yes, they do.
You
do.
Same. Now I do. But so I thought, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. And so then that's when I signed up for my first 100-mile race. Yeah.
Wow. First, as you can see. So you've done quite a few, and you do them for a great cause. So I really wanted to hear about that.
Yeah, so the first 100-mile race I did, so when I Googled 100-mile races, this organization came up called the 100 Mile Club, which is primarily a program for kids, and they work with elementary schools across the entire country. And what they do is they try to inspire kids and teach kids and motivate kids to run or walk 100 miles in a school year. And so I Google 100-mile races, this program 100 Mile Club comes up, I read about it.
You are good with Google.
Yeah, right. And I read about it, and they're hosting a 100-mile race for adults. And so then I signed up for that, and at that time I'd only ran a marathon.
Oh.
Okay, but based upon my 3 hours and 20 minutes running the marathon, I was like, okay, I can run 100 miles easy. I'll run it in 15 hours, 10 hours. I'll take a nap, right?
Did you Boston qualify in your first marathon?
I didn't, because at that age,
I was gonna be so
you
sad.
need to be a little bit faster.
Gotcha.
So, but anyhow, so then I fell in love with the 100 Mile Club. I fell in love with their cause, helping kids trying to fight child inactivity. And so that was my first attempt at running 100 miles. I didn't succeed. It was around a quarter-mile track, and you had 24 hours to run 100 miles, and I ran 84 miles. And so
that was pretty close. You almost got there.
It was close. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So, but the next year I signed up and I did it again, and I ran 100, and I won the whole race actually that year.
Oh my gosh!
Took
Well, that's
first,
a comeback.
and
That was amazing.
Raised a few $1,000s for the kids. So yeah, that's what I
feel like that's a big thing, is having that accountability or doing something for the right reasons. Nobody really wants to get out there and do all this physical. Well, you do and I do, but not everybody is, just active. So for you doing something that's for someone else, maybe that's the answer sometimes. If you know that something is for somebody else and you can take it outside of yourself, then you're going to be a lot more apt to follow through.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. For me, it's, we use this tagline, running for a reason. So it's originally for me starting over 20 years ago as a trainer and helping people. And most of our clients, they want to lose weight, whether they say it or not.
Exactly.
All the surveys that are done, like why do people exercise, why do they train for anything, and it's 90% of the time they want to lose weight.
Right.
But what happens when they lose the weight?
Exactly.
if they don't have something else external that they're like training for, other than themselves just trying to lose weight and hit a number on the scale, if they don't have that external motivator, then they gain the weight back.
Well, you hit it right dead on too, is that when you join these kinds of things, you're opening opportunities of people that are positive in your life, right? And being fit or just working out and having an active life is more of it's a lifestyle. So once you start to bring those people in and you kind of make plans with them or blah, 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 don't you feel like the value of your life is just so much better?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it can be selfish if you're just training for yourself, right? It is selfish. You're just training for yourself. You just want to, change the way that you look, and you want to hit a certain number on the scale. You want to burn a certain amount of body fat and look a certain way, and then you achieve it, and then it's like, then
now
what? So connecting with something bigger than yourself, running for a reason, training for a reason, getting involved with the community and falling in love with the process and the journey. And those are things that I took for granted growing up because I was an athlete growing up. And so I had the community, I had the team, I had other people that I was accountable to, I had a performance aspect that wasn't just an aesthetics aspect. I wasn't just training for a certain look, it was like I was training for performance, but for a community, for a purpose. So I had those things growing up, and then when I became a trainer, I was like, okay, everybody thinks like that, so let's just start training and exercising.
Not that way.
Right, exactly. And how do you get somebody connected with fitness in the way that we have if we're already in love with it and we grew up as athletes or we grew up training in sports? How do you get somebody who's never had that positive experience, and how do you get them to fall in love with the process? So for me, it's running and running for a cause and finding, other people, getting other people that don't have that and bringing them in. So I use my running store. And then we have training there, and then we introduce them to the 100 Mile
yoga
Club.
over there before,
Yes.
and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's totally beautiful.
Yeah, we need to bring you back for more yoga because people need it.
Only if you do the class at this time.
Right.
So what prompted you though to pull it into a store, a running store?
You know what, actually, so it was my 10-year anniversary with my wife, and we went to lunch, and we were sitting down at a restaurant, and across the street there was a fitness studio, and there was a running store right next door. And so we're eating lunch, and I see the customers going back and forth.
Oh,
right? Okay. So they're going into the running store, they're buying shoes and clothes, and they're going into the fitness studio and working out, right? And then vice versa. So I was like,
they're onto something.
Yeah, and so then I went over and I walk into the running store, and there's ads for the fitness studio on the front desk of the running store, and then vice versa, right? I go into the fitness studio and there's ads for the running store. So I told my wife, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up this place, just knock the wall down, and this is our place. So we have the product and the service and the training all under the same roof, because it's the same customer. So I figure, we have to solve a problem, and so from a business standpoint, it's nice because, if you are taking on a larger space, most of the time you can negotiate a little bit lower price per square foot on your rent, right? And so the overhead's down. It's the same customer, right? So,
exactly.
Yeah, so that's what prompted me to do that. Well, that was the moment that I decided
that it happened, like
that
when
it happened,
the Eureka came out and the light bulb, right?
Yeah.
We all have those moments as entrepreneurs, trust me.
Yeah.
So now everybody's going to be asking me, and I have to tell you because I always say, how in the world do you run so much and still have muscle?
Oh, okay. Well, so I like to think, here's the secret. So I like to think that I do the cross training that's necessary for runners. And so lots of times as runners, and I've had times in my life as a runner, so I would say being an avid runner for the last 15 years, I've had times in my running where I've fallen into that trap that most runners do, where you feel good, you get the runner's high, and that's your default, that's all you do is run, right? And then you don't do the cross training, you don't do the exercises that you need to do, you don't do any of the weight training.
And that's when everyone gets hurt.
Right.
So I just thought, well, Superman, you run like crazy, you got muscles, you never get hurt. I'm like, whoa, what is this guy got?
I've had injuries, I've done it, but I like to try to practice what I preach. So I've done a lot of cross training. So that's just that's what the store is all about. So we actually don't have treadmills in the store. So we have one
to encourage the outside running.
Exactly. And we have one treadmill to do gait analysis and to look at people's mechanics and get them in the right shoes and stuff. But in our classes that we do, it's all about the cross training that you need to do as a runner to strengthen your stability with your hips, your pelvis, your core, your knees, and everything down so that you don't have those injuries. So most of our training is that, and then that way you can go outside and run.
And and that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
All right, and thank you so much, Joe, for coming today and being part of the Contentment Coach. We appreciate having you. Again, this is Joe Nakamura with Run Republic.
Thank you.
On HLTV.
And you're Destiny Owens, and tune in for her next episode.